Hi, this is Kate, this is my channel, and this is going to be me launching a series of videos where I attempt to reread books that I have previously DNF'd that I still have on my shelf. I'm going to do mini reviews of them, whether or not I finish them or DNF them a second time, and if I do DNF them a second time, I want to get rid of them so I can free up a bit of space on my bookshelf. So the first book that I'm going to be talking about is Annihilation by Jeff VanderMeer. This is the first book in his Southern Reach trilogy, the second and third being Authority and Acceptance. All three of these books came out in 2014, and I think I bought this either after the second book came out or just after the third one came out. Can't quite remember. I read about a third of it. Often when I DNF a book, I'll dog ear the page that I gave up on, just to give myself an indication of how much I actually did read. It helps me decide whether or not I'm going to come back to it. So yeah, I read about a third of this book that's about just under 200 pages long. So it's the journal of a biologist as she's become part of a scientific expedition into this location called Area X. Area X is a wilderness area with a strange kind of border around it, where something very strange has happened here, and they don't quite know why. Whether the strangeness was supernatural or alien or a scientific experiment gone wrong, they don't really know. But this organisation called the Southern Reach is sending expeditions in to try and figure out exactly what's going on. And this is the 12th expedition that's gone into this area. Previous expeditions have either died in mysterious circumstances, or have simply disappeared, or have come back not right in various ways. So this is her diary as she goes into this area to try and figure out what's going on. This biologist, who is never named, the characters are never named, they're only ever given their scientific area of expertise. So the biologist, the anthropologist, the psychologist, the linguist, is how the characters are identified. She goes in, and it's her expedition as the other members of her team slowly peter away. And it's her meditations on what she sees, what she thinks, the strangeness that's going on around her as she tries to figure out what is going on. But ultimately she decides that she doesn't need to know. She decides that she doesn't need to know why it's weird. She doesn't need to know what happened. She doesn't need an explanation because she's comfortable not knowing. And I found that really, really cool for us, because often science fiction or fantasy books, the very nature of world building for these kinds of things means that we need an explanation, we need logic. At the very least, the author needs to know what's going on, and then because the author knows, they always want to tell you. And I think often in some ways, knowing exactly what happens kind of spoils the magic of it. And so I found it interesting that the scientist came to that same conclusion, that knowing would spoil something, and that the idea of mystery is powerful. Also powerful was a lot of the language in this, the descriptions, and there's a lot of nature writing in here, but there's also a lot of meditations on just life and things. I've dog-eared again. Yes, I am a dog-earer sometimes, not always. Please don't hate me for it. I've dog-eared just a couple of pages with some really beautiful sentences that I just wanted to read. Where was this one? The ever more distant sound of waves was like eavesdropping on a sinister, whispering conversation. And the other one that I really liked was, the stillness was simultaneously an invitation to let down your guard and a rebuke against letting down your guard. Just, yeah, lots of really nice little phrases and things like that that came up. And there was one early on in the book, a whole little vignette, I suppose, about why she became a biologist. And she's just remembering when she was a child, her family rented this house with a pool, and they didn't maintain the pool, and it became this little ecosystem with frogs and birds and fish and plant life. And she would just go and observe and take lots of notes about what she saw, and she was pretending to be a biologist, and eventually she became a biologist because that's just how she started to look at the world in terms of ecosystems. Just lots of, and that scene stuck in my head, and as I reread it, I was like, oh, I remember this. I remember finding, it stuck in my head as something quite powerful. So that was exciting to recognise that scene and to go, oh yeah, I forgot that happened in this book. This book that I didn't actually finish because I thought it was weird. So I don't know what the next couple of books would be about. Authority and acceptance. I kind of hope they don't go into too much more about like what is going on there. I hope it continues to be like, we don't know what's going on. Isn't this strange? Because I think it would kind of undermine what I found quite powerful in this book if Jeff VanderMeer decided to sort of explain Area X. I don't actually know if I will read them. I found this to be quite a good little. It's enough as a standalone. I don't need to know, just like the biologist, I don't need to know what happens next. But I do have one other book by Jeff VanderMeer that I also DNFed that I do want to get back to, City of Saints and Madmen. I think it was his first or one of his early books. And I remember it being really experimental in its style. And so at the time, I wasn't quite ready for that kind of book. I think I am more ready and more capable of reading that kind of thing now. So I do want to get back to that. So I did enjoy it. I liked it. I'm going to keep it. And that is Annihilation by Jeff VanderMeer. I'm Kate, and this is my channel. Thanks for watching. Bye.